Welcome electric fans to the Electric Coast channel, and today we're going to talk about bass tweaking, but we're not going to be tweaking your typical basses that you've seen in my previous videos. We're going to be tweaking some new basses from ITZ. These basses they're hot off the presses. ITZ has sent these basses out. It's been about 2 weeks now since these basses have been on the market. And in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the bass. We're going to tweak the bass. When I first got the bass out the box, I was amazed at the texture of the plastic. Like, here's the sprue that you see here, right? I took a couple of the bases off. I have a complete sprue here. These are some blue colored bases, but we're going to work with these yellow ones. When I initially touched the plastic, I noticed the plastic had a very rubbery feel. As you can see how the sprue is very bouncy, very springy. As I rub my hands over the plastic, over the prongs and the shell of the bass, the plastic had a very tacky feel. So that was a good sign to me. A tacky feeling bass means that bass is going to have very good resistance when its prongs make contact with the board. So I took one of the bases off the sprue and I put one of them together. These here are the little tabs that you mount into these holes right here to snap the prongs in. And so far I haven't needed to snap those prongs in. The dials, they sit inside the shell very well. The one thing I did notice with this particular bass you see here in my hand, the parts, they fit very snugly, which is a good thing. They sit so snugly inside the shell of the bass that the shell squeezes the dial a little bit. So before I even started tweaking, I knew that I had to set this dial, set the frame, the shell of the bass in such a way that it would allow these dials to sit flush inside of it. And I'm going to talk about that as well in the video. I have a very special pair of pliers sitting on the coffee mug warmer right now. I'm going to show you those also. We're going to put the bass under the microscope, and we're going to look at the prongs up close. We're going to talk about flash, and if necessary, we have a pair of straight nail clippers. It's going to allow us to clean off any excess flash from the prongs here. So we're going to move over to the microscope, and we're going to take a look at we're going to get a close-up look of this new ITZ bass. We're now under the microscope, and you're looking at the underside of the new ITZ dual dialed bass. And remember that tension that I was telling you about that the shell has when it houses the dials that go in it? Where you're going to have a dial that goes in this compartment and another dial that goes in this compartment. Hence the double dial name, okay? Now you see this little this structure right here, this cross section right here, going across the width of the base. Well, that's necessary to help hold the dials inside the shell. And that, my friends, is what's causing the tightness between the shell itself and the dials that fit in these areas here, okay? So before we start even tweaking the prongs of this base, we have to first get the dials to seat smoothly inside the shell without the tension. See, that tension is what's causing the prongs to spread, and I'm going to show you that momentarily here. But I wanted to show you first this the shell without the dials in it. I used my caliper to measure the thickness of the cross section of each one of these cross beams here, if you will, and they're about 96 millimeters in thickness. You know, this side and this side here, okay? It's about 96 millimeters of thickness. And I have a particular pair of pliers I want to show you also that I'm going to use to tweak these curved areas. I'm going to show you here under the microscope momentarily. I took one of the bases off the sprue, and I started to work with this cross section to minimize its thickness, and it turned out that wasn't the best approach. Now, don't worry, I didn't destroy the base. It's okay, I still can use that base. It's no big deal. What I found was the best way to approach this this dial issue was to, let's take this off. I'm going to show you the base when it's put together real quick. Okay, now as you can see, you have a dial here on this end and a dial here on that end, right? Everything looks okay from this angle, right? Let's see if we can get this, show you the end of the base here where you can see the prongs. I want to show you how these prongs are spread as a result of the tension that the shell is holding these prongs in, holding the dial in. You see how those prongs, they kind of like buck-toothed a little bit. They're not parallel. One is going outbound and the other one is going the other way. That's not good for a base. Perfect alignment is essential when you tweak your base. If your prongs are out of alignment, it's just like the tires in your car. If you got a poorly aligned car, your car will ride like garbage. Your base will run like garbage if it's not properly aligned. So we're going to get the tension out of the shell, okay, so that we can get these prongs to sit parallel, to sit perfectly straight. All right, so now let me take this off and I'm going to show you a prong or a dial with the prongs attached. It's all in one unit here. Let's see if we can move the dial into position here. All right, now instead of tweaking that cross section of the shell that I talked about earlier, I'm going to start my tweaking right here on this rounded section of this dial. Okay, and again, I got some pliers for that. I'm going to show you. I'll show them to you in a moment. But I got to talk about this dial in the shell first, okay? See the thickness of this cross section here? We gotta flatten that a little bit. So that way when the dial sits inside the base, it won't be so snug against the shell of the base, okay? Let's turn this dial over a little bit. I want you to see the prongs themselves. Okay. And you see the very tips of these prongs, they got flash on them. Not a problem. For all the guys out there who tweak, you know what's up with flash. You know how to go about doing it. We're going to use our lighter. We're going to use our straight edge clippers to clean that flash off the tips of these prongs. And this is only one dial. Remember, the base needs both dials, one for the front, one for the back. Okay? I just only brought one dial up to the microscope as a demonstration for this video. Now, move it out of the way. We're going to bring in now the pliers that I talked about. See if we can get a better zoom here. All right, now, see this jaw right here? That's where that dial, the rounded edge of that dial is going to fit. All right? Let's spin it around. I want you to see the other jaws. These pliers are slightly different than your typical smooth jaw tweak pliers. All right? Some more. All right. Now, here's the other jaw. See the rounded edge? See that? Well, we're going to put the dial inside here, and we're going to flatten out that section a little bit to, thin it up a little bit so we can fit that dial. So we can fit that dial better into the shell of the base. So let's do this. I'm going to get my dial. I'm going to take my pliers off here, and I'm going to show you here under the microscope how the pliers are going to hold. You see that? See how the pliers conform to the rounded edge of that dial? Well, my friends, this is how we're going to tweak this base before we even start going to the prongs. We got to get this base properly aligned in order to get it to perform at its best. So we're going to go over back to the game table, and we're going to start working on getting this base to perform for us. We're now at the game table, and we're going to start tweaking the dial that we're going to mount into the shell of the base. And this is the shell that I told you about, where I went to thin out this cross section right here, and you can see the part of that cross section where I slightly stretched it a little bit. But there's no need to worry, I still can use this shell for a different base. Now here is the new shell. This was the shell you saw under the microscope. I'm not going to do any modifications on this cross section right here. Okay, I'm gonna do everything to the dial. So I got my pliers on the coffee mug warming right now, and I have my caliper right here. We're gonna measure the thickness of this dial. So we're going to open it up a little bit and take a measurement. Okay. We're looking at 74 millimeters of thickness. All right. So we're going to try to take some of that thickness out so that we can get a more flush seating of this dial inside the shell of its base. Okay, let them apply sit a little while. They're warm. Okay, we don't want them too hot because the we don't want to melt these. This plastic is very as I said earlier, it's very rubbery. Okay, so we don't want to put too much heat on it. So we just simply take our pliers. Okay, put it on the on this part of the base here, and we squeeze. So these are the pliers that you saw under the microscope earlier, right? Concave portion and the rounded jaw. Okay, we still got some warmth on there. We're going to do the same thing to this other dial. All right. So we're going to put our pliers back on the warmer. All right. Set them back over there. Now, see what we got here. So we got our shell, and we're going to take these prongs. I'm going to put this set of prongs in the front, and I think I want this prong in the back because there's a small amount of flash right there on the tip of that prong there. Okay, so I'm going to make this the back of the base. Pop that in. Okay, as you can see, the base is very flexible. See, put that prong in, that dial in, and then we're going to mount the other dial. You know what? Let's measure the difference in our thickness before we do that. Zero out the caliper. See what our thickness is. Thickness is brought down to 62 millimeters, okay? So it was 71 before we put the pliers to it. Now it's down to 62. So we're gonna mount that dial in the base, okay? Make sure it's seated properly. Everything's good. And as you look at the prongs, they don't look too bad. We haven't started tweaking the prongs yet, of course. Let's flip it this way and see what it looks like. Okay, move it a little closer. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. Because right now it's all about alignment. I want an aligned base. Okay, make sure the prongs and the dial are set. Okay, so I said this is going to be the front of the base. So I'm going to have to sweep these prongs back. All right. And I don't need to put those little tabs in there because the shell of the base is doing a very good job of holding the dial. Okay. So let's see, not too bad at all. I'll flex it a little bit. See if we can get, make this base as straight as possible. Okay, not too bad. So we're going to flash these prongs. We're going to begin to tweak these prongs, and then we're going to test performance also. So give me a moment to clear off the board here, and then we're going to get to, run testing this base. Now that we have the base put together, have both dials inside the shell, okay, we're going to just run it and see what it does. Now, because the prongs haven't been touched yet, we already know this base isn't going to run correctly, right? But we're going to just do it just to see what happens. Okay, we got some movement out of it. It bounces a lot. Let's move our camera back a little bit. Run it again. Okay, it hops around, but no need to worry. Our tweaks is going to settle all that. So I got my Haiti Repro defensive back pose here. This is my Drew Brees quarterback pose. So we're gonna put a figure on this base. Just see what it does. Okay, run it. Same thing. Base doesn't run well. Okay. So I no longer have these pliers on the coffee mug warmer, as you can see, right? I have a pair of smooth jaw pliers like these ones resting on the coffee mug warmer, and they're about ready to start. We're about ready to use them to start our tweak. We also have a pair of Zurin pliers as well. And as I had shown earlier in the video, I have a pair of straight edge nail clippers. And I put them somewhere around here. I'll bring those out later. They were on the board here. I don't know where I put them at. So yeah, we also got a pair of needle nose pliers as well to help us to bring this base to life. So before I do that, we're going to flash those prongs, because as you saw in the microscope, one of the prongs on the one of the dials had a flash on all four of those prongs. So what I like to do, have a pair of legs here with a stand. That way I can hold the base away from my hands. And these prongs here, the ones in the front, these are the ones with the flash on the tips. And this prong right here, that's I'm gonna make this the back of the base. There's flash right there on that particular prong by itself. Okay. So yeah, let's get started here. I got my lighter. Let's move our camera back some more. All right. I'm going to use my Zurin pliers after I apply the heat from this lighter. I get my fire going. I pass the lighter over the base, and just like that, the flash is gone from the tips. We're going to flip over the base. We're going to get this prong right here. This one here. I'm going to pass the light over all of them, but especially this prong. Okay. Got our heat ready. Pass it. I missed. Do it again. Got it. Pass it one more time. Okay. There's still some more flash on this prong right here. Fire. Got it. Okay, So all the prongs look clean from this angle. All right. So let's put the base back on the board. Let's see what it does. Okay, still choppy and bouncy, and that's mainly because the prongs haven't been aligned yet. So the next step is to go to the Zurin pliers, which I'll go to momentarily. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I found my my straight edge nail clippers here. I had put them away in one of the boxes over here on the sideline. So I wanted to retrieve them before I went into the next part of this video. Okay, we've already flashed the prongs as you saw earlier, right? So now I'm gonna take my Zurin pliers and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Okay. I'm gonna take my Zurin pliers and I want this part of the base to be the front. So I want to grab prongs here. I want to go down each one of these prongs. I'm not squeezing too hard. Remember, this plastic is very soft. It's very supple. All right. And we still got our pliers on the coffee mug warmer, our flat jaw pliers on the warmer. We're going to use those pliers to help us curl these prongs. All right. And every time I tweak a base, every time I do something to a base, I run test it so I can monitor how the base is changing. All right. All right, I'm gonna flip it over, and I want to do the back side of these prongs with the Zurin pliers. There's no need to go under the microscope anymore. Save time. All right. Using the Zurin pliers, I flatten these front prongs a little bit, not too much. Let's run it and see what happens here. Move it up a bit, stay in the frame. See how I got out? Just that little bit. We haven't even put the hot pliers on it yet. That's showing me some promise. See how quick the base jumped? Okay. And we still have to hit these back prongs here with our Zurin pliers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move down these back prongs here. Okay. Trying to keep my hands in the frame here so you can see it. Normally when I'm offline, I don't hold the base like this, but for the sake of this video, I have to contort my arms and my hands in a way to stay in the frame. All right, now I want to flip the base over. So at first I had it like this, right? I was doing the outside face of the prongs. Now I flip the base over like so, and now I want to do that inside of the prongs, right? Let's using our Zerm pliers. We are applying our tweaks here. Okay. And just with my fingers, I'm gonna sweep the prongs back a little bit. Okay. Set our base on the board. Let's see what happens. Still doing the same thing. It's looping, but we got better response. We got better response out of this base. All right. All right. So let's do this. We're gonna take off. We're gonna take the legs off the figures here. This is the legs of a figure I cut up. Let's go ahead and put it in. Put a whole figure on the base. This is the Haiti repro pose. All right. Set it down. See what happens. All right. No need to worry. No need to worry here. All right. Run it again. It's got lots. It's coming to life very slowly. So let's do this. I'm going to, let me find another figure here. I don't want that one. Not that one either. I'm gonna grab a standard game day figure, okay? No sculpting, no clay, just a straight up figure as is. And it's mounted on a ITZ power dial base, okay? Let's just see what it does. All right, looks like it held its ground. Let's turn the board down a bit. No, it didn't. All right, because see, we still got some more tweaks to do. Okay. So this base, we still gotta work some more. All right. I'm still confident that this base is going to bring promise. All right. So now I want to get my warm pliers off the coffee mug warmer here. These ones, right? I don't want them too hot. I don't want to take the base, put the pliers warm on the prongs, putting a slight curl in them. All right. I'll curl them. Okay. So now, if you look at the base, see the angle of the prongs, right? Let me get my little holder here. See the angle on those prongs now? Just by using these warm pliers, see? Take our fingers and maybe take some of that curl out. All right. Gonna set our base down. We're gonna put these pliers back on the warmer. Give me a moment here. Wow. Okay. Just leave them here. All right. Let's see what we got. Let's back our camera up just in case this base gives us a little bit more. Right? Set it there. Turn the board up a little bit. We got movement. See that? We went from looping in circles and running erratic to we got straight ahead movement. All right. So now let's go back to testing using our game day figure, power dial, ITZ. Let's see what happens. Hello. Just like that. I'm still not done tweaking this bass yet. Still not done tweaking it yet. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to do some more work offline. And I'll catch you guys later. I'm Mo. Thanks for watching.